I stabbed someone for the first time in school. It was in the second grade. Thomas Mays. He was a few years older and a hell of a lot bigger than me. I stabbed him in the gut with my pocket knife, only once. My classmates pulled me off after that, but I wish I'd gotten more jabs in. I wish I'd stuck that knife into him again and again and again until he didn't have a breath left in his body. I wish I'd gotten the last laugh. My first day of school at the fort, homeschool really, went fine. Everyone loved me. Who wouldn't love the leader's son? I sat at the front of the meeting hall, riding high on their smiles and friendly words. The teacher handed me a slip of paper and told me to memorize it. The mantra. A racially pure people, which is conscious of its blood, can never be enslaved by anti-racists. In this world, we must fortify the future of white people, and white people alone. I recited that the first day without knowing what I was saying, just reading words off the page, along with everyone else in the hall. But I thought about it that night, and the more I thought about it, the more I remembered Mom's warnings. The next day, I refused to say it. I led to my first indoctrination, because he was afraid he'd kill me if he got his hands on me. He had my classmates do the indoctrination. Guys, I've been throwing a baseball with the day before, Thomas Mays and the Connor brothers. They cornered me during free time. Thomas Mays punched me in the face and threw me in the dirt. The Connor brothers stretched me out and held me down so I couldn't protect myself. Then Thomas Mays kicked me in the stomach with his steel-toed combat boots, saying he'd keep doing that until I said the mantra and believed it. I was 8. I said the words. I hated myself for it, but I said them. But they could never make me believe them. I lay there in the dirt, curled up in the tight ball, tears mixing with sweat and blood to make tiny mud puddles, when a small hand reached towards me, palms up, the way you'd approach an unfamiliar dog, and, like a dog, I sniffed first. Oranges. That's the first memory I had of Kelsey. She sat there, orange slice extended towards me, and waited until I sat up and took it. Then she offered me another. I thanked her for it and shrugged one shoulder. "You look like you needed it," she said. I never knew if she meant the orange or the kindness. She helped me with her sticky hands. "Don't let them get away with it, otherwise they'll keep coming for you. That's what he always says anyways." She nodded at the edge of the field where my father stood watching. I waited a few months until the right time, until I found Thomas Mays alone in the corner of the field during free time. I flicked open the blade of my pocket knife and pulled my sleeve over my hand to hide it. He was only 12, but he had been lifting weights. It felt like cutting into thick steak when I plunged the knife in, but it made a sickening, deflating balloon noise when I pulled out, a satisfying, soul-draining sound. Thomas Mays had acted tough before, but all the toughness spurred out of him with the blood from his belly. He didn't bother me again, not until that day in the woods. Monday morning comes too quickly. The truck is silent as Trader drives me across town to high school, me gripping the worn handle on the top of my backpack until my knuckles turned white, him doing the same with the steering wheel. Lewiston looks to be more worthless than Farmer. The yellow one you'd miss at town near the fort. At least Farmer had a Walmart. Almost every store in downtown Lewiston is closed. I spot one restaurant, but it's in the trailer behind some lady's house, so I don't think it counts. Skunky didn't show this morning, so it's just the two of us in the cloud of quiet, interrupted by the ramble of the engine and jingle of his keys, which I still hadn't been able to get off my hands. Every time they knock against one another, I think about the trunk in the closet. It's barely 7 when Trader pulls up a red tin awning in front of the ugly gray cylinder block school. I have expected Mia to rush into the glass doors, assaulting me with questions, but the sidewalk remains empty. Trader catches my arm. "Don't cause no trouble." I grab my pack and jump out as he drives off. It occurs to me that the building may not have been unlocked this early. I cross my fingers. All I want is to figure out where I'm supposed to go and be tucked away in the back corner of the classroom where everyone else gets here. The door swings open easily. A blast of cool air and stale, musty odor hit me as I stepped through. Chills bump chill bumps prickle my arms, making the hairs stand at attention. There's a glass window to the right, like some kind of psych center where they distribute meds. That says office. I slide up to it and shift on my feet. The office is dark, but someone has to be in here if the place is open, right? Do I holler? Stand here like a loser until someone sees me? I look around the corner, empty, but a bar of light peeks out from under a door a little ways down the hall. A sign on the wall beside it reads Teacher's Lounge. Below it, someone has taped a piece of white paper with "No students allowed" in bold. I put my ear to the door and listen, but the wood is too thick to hear through. I'll just open it really fast, peek inside to see if anyone can tell me where to go. You can't be mad about that, right? I turn the handle and push the door open in fluid movement. It hits something solid, and there's a loud crunch followed by a scream. Oh, shit. My heart pounds. I hurt some, not just someone, a teacher. My first day without even trying? What is wrong with me? I could run. They haven't seen me yet. I could get the hell out of here. Remind. Start over. Start fresh. That's what Miss Erica said. Although I don't think that's what think she meant this. I can't even take a step. The door slams open. A blonde girl glares at me, over, the blood spurting from her nose. Bright flecks of it dot her white shirt, like the Queen Anne's lace I used to pick for Kelsey's birthday. A bluish bruise is already starting to form along the bridge of the girl's nose. She holds one hand to the face, trying to catch the stream flowing down her chin. What the hell? She yells when she sees me. Look what you did! Her eyes dart to the feet and back of my face. Oh my god, you were leaving? You weren't even going to see if I was okay? You were just going to leave me like this? No, who even are you? What are you doing here? The blood in my own veins starts to boil. I didn't mean to hurt her. She's asking like I did it on purpose. I open my mouth to answer, but she starts in again before I could get a word out. Don't just stand there. Give me a paper towel or something. What is wrong with you? That's what it does. Hearing my thoughts echoed through her lips. The beast rises up inside me. Will you just shut up already? I yell. I didn't mean to. Her jaw flops open, blood dripping down the creamy tile. I clench my fist and turn my heel. Staying here will only make it worse. I told Trader this was a bad idea. At least now he'll scrap the whole school, I think. Hey! The girl yells. I ignore her and keep walking. I only make it a few steps before a short, round white woman blocks my path. Her tan pantsuit is too tight to be comfortable, and her red hair is too bright to be natural. She looks from me to the blonde girl, who's still bleeding all over the floor. What's going on here? He did it, the girl says. Ah, shit. And the woman clucks her tongue. It's okay, Maddie. Nose injuries always look worse than they are. Now, let's get you cleaned up, she says towards the girl, and then looks back at me. You, wait here. Son of a bitch. Staying in school may not even be an option. Not if I get expelled on my first day. This will look great on my record. I stand beside the dark office, like I should have done to begin with. The woman returns a few minutes later. Miss Rogers is taking care of Maddie. She sorts through a key ring big enough to rival Trader's. Here we go. She separates one of the keys and unlocks the door. Fluorescent light buzzes awake. A wood grain sign on the wall says, Mary Wells Principal. I look from the sign to the woman. Yep, that's me. If you get a move on, we can do the proper introduction. I follow her to my first personal office. We enter a reception-type area with a tall counter and a couple of plastic chairs. Then skirt the corner and enter another room. The principal sits behind a white oak desk and motions to the two faded red chairs across from her. I perch on the edge of the closest one. She places her elbow on the desktop. Now then, you must be Nate. Not exactly the best start at Lewiston High. She plucks a thin manila folder out of a drawer. Miss Tufts and Miss Hayes made me aware of your situation. She pauses. You're taller than I expected. I don't really know what to say, so I don't say anything. A slice of yellow glides by the window. Brakes squeal as the bus stops. Then voices float through the open window of the outer office. Students are already starting to arrive, and I'm cooped in here instead of holed up somewhere safe. The principal opens the file. Fighting, threatening teachers, destroying property, lack of respect for authority, and now assaulting another student? I didn't. She holds up a finger. I believe today was an accident, but you have an admittedly bad pattern of behavior. I want to be clear here. We're giving you a chance, and we want this to work out, but we'll be watching you closely. I have to look out for my students. Good Lord. First the incident with Nose Girl, and now this bullshit file on me. They couldn't construct a better story than that? I mean, it's not far from the truth, but still, not exactly the fresh start I thought everyone wanted for me. Must be the new social workers doing. Do you understand, Mr. Clemens? I bristle at the name. Another bus pulls up. More students flood through the front doors. Loud students. I just want out of here, so I bite my tongue. Yes, ma'am. Good. She pulls a grade folder. She pushes a gray folder towards me. There's a map inside. Not that this place is hard to figure out. There are only two hallways. Your prior homeschooling and the independent study in the institution was good enough for the state to consider you a sophomore, but we'll be monitoring your grades closely. If you can't keep up, we'll drop you to freshman. Better than expected. I'd be 17 in a few months and should be a junior, but honestly, I'm surprised the education that I've gotten so far has been enough to get me was enough to be in high school at all. I take the folder and open my class schedule. Behind it is a code of conduct, the maps you mentioned, and a bunch of other papers I don't feel like reading. I flip to the map. Besides the front entrance, there are exits at each side of the T-shaped halls. Not ideal, but at least I have an option if things get messier, anyways. Heavy footsteps stomp on the tile in the main office behind me. Miss Rogers, a girl says, hard and clipped. It sounded like Nose Girl. I can't take these classes. I can't. You have to change my schedule. I'm familiar with the tone. Kelsey sounded like this when she was mad at me, which was usually any time I just disagreed with her, over small things like what we thought a poem meant, or bigger things like when we should leave the fort. She got so pissed and wouldn't talk to me for days, or even weeks. There was no compromise with Kelsey. This girl isn't Kelsey, but she is talking loud enough to draw a crowd. I don't want to be a part of that. I keep my eyes forward, silently begging the principal to hurry up so I can get out of here and to my class before more people show up. She seems oblivious. Your first class is homeroom, Miss McAvey, second door on the right. Your locker is number 219, near the lunchroom. That's down the left. The combination is in your folder. Don't give it to anyone. You'll pass the first number once, pass the second, and then directly to the third. She stands and puts both hands on the desk. If you have any questions, ask Miss Rogers at the window. Questions? I have a ton. Like, what the hell did you just say? I close the folder, grateful that she's finally letting me leave, and start to sand, but she's not finished yet. First bell is at 7:45. Homeroom starts at 8 sharp. Lunch is $2, so you can bring your own. Do you have money already? I shake my hand. She beckons for me to follow her to the main office. Nose Girl stands at the counter, a red towel pressed against to her nose. You don't understand, the girl says to the skinny older white woman behind the desk. This won't work. She slams a piece of paper on the counter. Her eyes narrow when she spots me, her face glowing like the fires of hell dwell in her skull. My body tenses. I glare at her, not willing to be the first to look away. I've already shown enough weakness, especially on the first day. The girl's frown deepens. She seems like she wants to say something. The principal pushes around me. Nose Girl turns back to the woman, but gives me a side eye. My muscles relax in triumph, but it's only momentarily. The day hasn't even officially started, and I've already had 2 confrontations with her. Miss Rogers, the principal says, this is Nate Clemens. Give him a lunch pass, but only for today. Though. She drops my file on the counter. Oh, and Nate, make sure you read the code of conduct carefully. She sweeps into the office and closes the door behind her. Nose girl glowers at the older woman. I was here first. Just a moment, Maddie, the lady says, pawing through through a gray plastic cup. I keep my head down until she hands me a piece of paper. A piece of yellow construction paper with lunch pass stapled on it. Here you go, dear. Give it to the lunch lady and you will get your food. I slip it into my pocket and head to the hall. The floodgates have definitely opened. The place is packed. There are too many teenagers for a town this size. Mostly white people, but a few other races peppered through the crowd. My whole body is on edge, not wanting another run-in. I stare at my shoes and weave towards the lockers. People knock against me with their elbows and backpacks as they push past. Lockers slam and people shout in the air at Arctic levels. Arctic levels. It's been 594 days since it happened. 594 days, and it's August, not December. But it's not cold. But it's so cold and crowded, and too much. I don't take my meds. I didn't take my meds. I didn't take my meds. I wanted to be sharp for my first day, but nothing is sharp except for the dead branches scratching at my arms. The faces in the halls blur together into one featureless mass and stretch to the ceiling. Except it's not a ceiling, it's dark open sky. Fingers stretch and claw and scratch. I close my eyes to try to focus. This can't happen, not now. I struggle to get to my button of my collar shirt, but the string is pinned to by my backpack. A guy yells. Something heavy crashes to the tile, loud as a gun blast. The sound echoes around me, glowing into the roar until it's white noise. It's so cold, so freaking cold. Snow brushes my eyelids and it sticks my arm hair. He's behind me. It's not real. It's not real. It's been 594 days since it was real. But oh my god, he's coming, crashing through the bushes. My pulse pounds out of my drumbeat. Pounds out a drumbeat in my ears. He's got a gun, and I'm still standing. I want to live. I break into room, shoving branches out of the way. I trip over a root and crash to the ground. The snow is heavy and wet. I didn't have time to grab a jacket or even a long-sleeve shirt. My wet undershirt isn't much protection. I'm struggling to get free, to get away, but he's on top of me, punching. The gun butt swings at my head, smashes into my temple, and I see fireworks. I can't die yet. I'm going to die. I can't, not yet. I free my arm and knock the gun out of his hands. It thumps to the snow, and we're both scrambling for it. My elbow catches him in the eye. He roars and smacks me hard enough to see stars. He's pulling me back by my fingertips and grazed the gun handle. But my fingertips graze the gun handle. I've almost got it, but his hand gets to it first. Fire spurts through my lips. My arms are suddenly heavy. The snow turns into gunpowder, swirling around my head. So dark, and I tense. I can see it. Then I'm at his mercy.